Hey guys, welcome to the channel. This is Agent Kyle. Thank you so much for joining me today. Before we get too far into this, I want to give a huge shout out to my friends over there at Blue Line Guns. They are a Boise, Idaho based company, so if you live here in the local area or you're swinging through, please give them a quick look. Tell them Kyle sent you, see what they can do for you. I really enjoy this gun shop. I exclusively buy my guns and ammo through them. Super cool bunch of guys. We can just sit down, talk, hang out, talk guns, talk not guns, talk more guns, talk food, whatever. They're super cool group, you guys. So please check them out. This gun is on loan from them, so I really want to give a gigantic shout out to Jacob, the owner over there. So thank you very much, Jacob, for bringing this thing to life and letting me borrow this. It's been a lot of fun. You'll get your gun back very soon, I promise. So before too much time gets away from us, let's talk about this. This gun doesn't need a whole lot of introduction. If you know your guns at all, you already know what gun this is, or you are literate and read the title. This is the Sig P229 Dark Elite from everything I can find on this. It was a really hard gun to track down. We'll talk about what makes it the Dark Elite here in just a minute. Let's talk about some specs really fast. This thing is a double single action, as you see, caliber 9mm. The single action is supposed to be coming in right at 4.4 pounds. We'll talk about my feelings on that later. Overall length is 7.6. Overall height, 5.4 inches. It is a chunky 1.5 inch wide. Whew. My CZ is not 1.5 inch wide, and it does have an AMB decocker anyway. This thing is a 32 ounces, so it is heavy. It's very heavy. We'll talk about the weight here in a little bit too. He's supposed to come with aluminum grips. As you see, these are not aluminum. These are the Hogue grips that came with this. I'm not sure what happened to the aluminum. This is a used gun. It's a trade-in, so Jacob let me shoot it a little bit. So we'll talk about those grips here in just a minute. It is a nitron coating. Barrel is 3.9 inches. That does not include the threaded barrel on this one. He is supposed to come with 2 magazines. It also has the accessory rail. He's not really a true Picatinny, although it's close enough. And lastly, it comes with the SRT triggers. So let's dive into this thing. We're going to start with my new video formatting regarding guns. We're going to kind of start here at the base, and then we're going to work all the way up and talk about the trigger very last. So let's go into it. So what makes this gun the Dark Elite version? And if you know anything about SIGs are really hard to understand, in my opinion. There's a lot of renditions out there with a whole bunch of little minor changes that apparently make major changes, especially in terms of like the grips and stuff like that. In other words, what I'm saying is, from what I found out, you can't just throw any willy-nilly pair of grips on this gun. They have to be a specific set of grips based on the model and year of this gun. I believe this gun is from the late 90s, although nobody at SIG would give me a call back, so whatever, SIG, I guess. I don't really know what year your gun is, so whatevs. Anyway, this is the Dark Elite. What makes the Dark Elite is first and foremost going to be the SRT that comes stock inside this gun. Very nice trigger. We will talk about that. Secondly, it's going to be the threaded barrel on this. Very nice. Kind of like with all threaded barrels, the thread protector does like to walk once you start shooting a little more. And the last bit on there is going to be the adjustable combat night sights. These are the Sig Light night sights. Very cool. 3-dot is not my preferred sight, but I can't deny it. They're very nice sights, and they still glow, which means it might not be from the 90s, but I don't know because SIG would not answer their phone. So if any of you know down below, just by looking at this, exactly what year this is from, please let us know, because I don't. So let's talk about this thing. We're going to start with the magazines first and foremost. This thing's supposed to come with 2. This guy comes with 3 from Blue Line. These are 15-round magazines. Very nice. The coating they use on this, it looks like it's the same coating that Beretta started putting in their pistols to resist friction on sand. These things glide in and out super nicely, and that's even without any sort of factory oil on them. What I think is really interesting about them is they are a double stack, but notice how we go and start tapering. It's nice and wide here, and then taper step 1, taper step 2 to get us up to a single round. So whatever it is, it works for SIG. They are very nice magazines. Very nice magazines. Easy base plates to take on and off. I'm not going to do it here on camera. Trust me when I say easy and nice magazines. So that's the magazine. As we now know, gravity is still in effect. So moving into the actual meat and potatoes, this is the pistol. We'll talk about the bottom of our magwell here. It is not flared, not really. It is machined to allow a magazine to be accepted into there. And trust me when I say it's really hard to do this over the tripod, but Magazines go in and out really easy. You can do this at night, no problem. Trust me, I did it a lot. Very, very fun gun to do it. It just feels so cool to be able to insert magazines to an all-metal gun. So for those of you who think all-metal guns are obsolete, please go handle one. Preferably this one here at these guys, this shop. It's a really cool gun, you guys. All-metal guns are definitely still a viable fighting option. Yes, they weigh a little more. Typically, that does help reduce recoil. We will talk about the recoil impulse here in just a little bit. But magwell is nice. Finishes holding up really nicely. This was done probably by the original owner, but I'm not sure. It wasn't done by me. You know, I'm very careful with these things, and I would follow up and, you know, kind of set my mag here first and then slide it in. So magwell, very, very nice. Moving up, we're going to talk about the grip. The grip here is not factory. However, you can still see that there is factory line right there underneath this rubber hoe grip. I'm not going to take this off for you on camera. It's a pain in the butt to get back on. But just know there are factory lines in the bottom of this gun. So this grip on this particular gun is a monster. It's almost like somebody's like, well, I have extra large hands, but I think I have triple XL hands, because you know what they say about guys with big hands? Big gloves. So, you know, it's a monster grip. With gloves on, it does feel very comfortable because it is so much bigger, but it's truly a monster. Albeit, it's very comfortable. Very, very comfortable. In fact, so comfortable you can really just find the home right here in the center of this grip. Now, I've got medium-sized hands with large length fingers on a large glove, so I'm kind of in a predicament where I don't really have a glove that'll fit me. I find this grip to be a monster in my hands. So the grip screws, I'm pretty sure those are the ones that came with Hogue. All the same, they are finished very, very nicely. So moving a little further up, let's talk about the undercut here on the trigger guard. It is very nice. As you can see, you are able to get nice and high up there. Not a whole lot of material. When we compare that to my carry gun, my CZ, you can see that it does have a little bit of the same, you know, undercut right there. Very, very nice. Very comfortable, you guys. Very, very good. So moving up, the magazine release is really, really good on this, actually. There is texture on it. However, it's not so much where it's going to tear up your thumb. My only gripe about this is, I mean, I can reach my magazine release. However, I cannot reach it with my standard grip. Why? Because the gargantuan grips on this thing. I mean, I can like touch it, but I can't. There we go. There. So as you see how white my hands are turning on there. Sorry about the earthquakes, you guys. Very difficult to work around a tripod. Very, very difficult. So if you've never done it, please try it. Let me know how you thought. So you can't really reach the magazine release with these grips on there. However, I'm about 100% sure that if these were the original aluminum grips or even the G10 grips, this wouldn't be too much of an issue to get to. So let's talk about the beaver tail, and then we will move up and talk a little bit more about everything else. The beaver tail on this is very, very nice. It's very reminiscent of a 1911. You see how high it gets up there. Do you really need your beaver tail to be that high? No, probably not. But dang, does it look good. It also keeps your gun completely away from your hands. So as you see there, the slide is never, ever, ever going to touch you, even if I try and get like a ridiculously high grip on this thing. So much so that, you know, I'm jamming basically my ring finger up into this. It's never going to touch you. Part of that's because it's a Sig, super high slide and all. But the other part is this beaver tail is just very, very nice. It's very reminiscent of a 1911. So the only thing I thought was very interesting on this is you can kind of barely see it right there. Certain light, you can kind of see what might have been the original casting of this thing. Not a big deal because it's super smooth. You can't even feel it, but it's just something I did notice. So let's talk about the slide release and decocker on this thing. So slide release, I'm not a Sig guy, and I hit this stupid slide release every freaking time. It's just so frustrating, and you know, I goes home and then click. I'm like, well, that's because I wrote the slide release. That's a training issue. No way of getting around it. It's a training issue. I don't shoot SIGs. I don't own any SIGs. This is my first SIG I've shot in a very long time. I don't own SIGs, and therefore I ride their slide release. However, it's a nice slide release. It is not overly textured as to tear up your thumb. It does stick out quite a bit, so it's very, very comfortable. But, you know, it almost feels like a false ledge to rest your finger on. So I don't recommend that. You'll figure your way around it if you know the best way to hold this thing for, you know, any occasion I do happen to ever own a Sig in my life. That'd be great. Go and share that with me. Decocker. It's a very nice decocker. Same sort of gripe with my magazine release. Decocker is really hard to reach. I mean, I can barely get it, but trust me when I say hard to reach. With these grips on there, So trust me, gun, as we know, the gun's unloaded, but see right there how I'm kind of barely holding on with my thumb. And granted, I'm partially, you know, having to really turn my hand around, but it's very, very tough to reach. And again, that is mostly because of these grips. I have with almost 100% certainty that if the factory grips were on this, all of this stuff right there would be very easy to access still without having to break my grip at all. Typically, I find myself breaking my grip, you know, shooting grip and then decocking. But notice how far over the gun is in my hand now. So natural position, broken grip to reach the decocker. So really, really cool. Let's talk about the hammer. This is Sig's traditional hammer with their really funky, you know, half cock looking thing. And if you don't understand what that means, so we're gonna go ahead and, so now the trigger is pressed. The trigger, sorry, the plunger safety is out of the way, which now allows you to push the hammer forward, and that is moving the firing pin. So, and as soon as you let off, it doesn't allow you to do that anymore. So still the same half cock hammer. It is kind of cool. It's got just that little bit of take up right there, hardly anything. I believe if it rested in full rest like a CZ would be, the take up would be completely gone out of that. It'd be pretty stiff straight from the get-go, like stiff instead of a little bit of play. Do you feel that when shooting? Absolutely not. We'll talk about the trigger here yet to come. Trigger, you got to wait your turn. So let's talk about the sights. Sights on this are very nice. Sig light night sights, very, very easy to, you know, acquire in the daytime, very easy to acquire at night. They're just nice sights overall. You can still do your tactical one-handed manipulations off of this sight right here. You know, it's got a decent ledge, definitely workable. So as you see there, pretty workable. So these slide serrations on there, I found a lot to be desired on these, especially coming off of other platforms. They feel like a Glock, just not quite as good. Glocks aren't really known for having the best slide serrations in the world, and these definitely aren't. They are very, very shallow feeling. I think the nitron coating on this is also making it really hard to do. However, it does have front slide serrations, and these are okay, albeit, you know, they still suffer from the same problem that the rears do. They're very, very smooth feeling right here. I mean, they almost seem to have more grip pushing against them this way than they do pulling against them this way. So it's weird. Not the biggest fan of them. Not really. So still not bad. The actual slide itself is very well finished. I'll go ahead and take this down for us so that way we can then focus on, you know, the slide here. Set that off to the side. So here's the slide. My goodness, bad earthquakes over here in Boise today. Bad. Slide is very well finished. There are no rough spots on this thing whatsoever. Nothing. Very, very, very nicely finished. I'm pretty sure the previous owner from this might have only put 100, maybe 200 rounds to this gun, you guys, because as you see here, it's just hardly any wear on there. And surprisingly, this actually is supposed to come this way, unfinished like this. So it's probably just to help reduce some friction on there. So we'll go ahead and take the recoil spring out and disassemble our thread protector off screen. It's a little easier to work with. So like I said, I'm pretty sure the owner didn't really shoot this at all. Hardly any wear and tear on this whatsoever. Slide finishing, very, very beautiful. Can you really tell a difference while shooting? Not really. Here's the barrel. Again, it's got a little bit of wear from it, but I'm pretty sure this is wear from fondling, not actually shooting it. Yeah, probably just a couple hundred rounds through this gun. Hardly anything at all. The only reason I'm not sure is because if we look right there on the ramp, the feed ramp, it is a little worn. And I don't know if that finish is going to continue to wear off long term, as we see right there. It's not my gun, so I'm not going to put thousands of rounds through it. So really, really, very, very nice, you guys. Very impressed. SIGs are very nice guns, though. You really get what you pay for. It's got its classic wire, wound wire spring, none of this flat recoil stuff that everyone else is using these days, and is uncaptured. So front sight, nothing much to talk about. It is really cool how they do have a cutout right there to allow the sight to sit as flat as possible. I love the height on these sights though. However, they do make a tall gun feel taller. There's no way around that. So that pretty much concludes the slide. Let's talk about the rest of the frame really fast. Again, look at all the wear on this. I mean, hardly anything at all. So I really think the owner didn't hardly put any rounds to this. So if you're here in Boise and you want a great gun, please go buy this gun from them. Otherwise, I might have to. Maybe not. I don't know. So internals, again, very, very nicely finished through and through, very even. Again, you can see some casting. I think it's casting marks right there, but they're smooth, very smooth actually. So really, it's very, very nice. We'll go ahead and put this thing back together really quickly here. So the takedown lever right there is very easy to get to, stays super out of the way. Look how flush it sits to the frame. You get this frame cut before you get to this. So the accessory rail on there looks like a Picatinny. I'm pretty sure it is still just a regular accessory rail. No wear and tear on this one whatsoever. Guys, I'm trying to tell you, this is a great gun. Please go buy it from them. Right there, front checkering on the face of the trigger guard. It's not for me, but it does look nice. I guess if you rest your finger on it or rest on a barrier or something like that, whatever. Really, really cool. So let's get down to the trigger, and then we will talk about kind of my final thoughts on this and try and wrap this thing up. This is Sig's short reset trigger, and again, it's a very slim trigger, as you will see in comparison to the photo I'm putting up next to you right here. Very, very slim trigger, very nice trigger. Pulling this thing at the double action, very, very smooth. There we go. I had to break my grip to reach that. So you feel, you know, the wall immediately, and then it's very smooth actually, and it feels a lot shorter than it really is. Super, super smooth trigger, you guys. Very, very nice. Very impressed. The break is right about right. We're coming up on it right there. There is no over trowel. It completely goes all the way. So single action on this. Really, really nice. Not quite as nice as any of the Legion guns I've ever handled. I've handled about 4 of them at this point in time. They're nice. I don't know if I'd spend the money on them personally, but again, I'm not really a Sig guy. I can tell you from what I've seen, the finish on this is holding it better than most Legions I've handled. So the short reset trigger, now this is where it's really cool. I mean, you go from nothing to wall, and then right after the wall, super short break. Reset on this, again, short reset. There we go. And it really kind of wants to throw your finger forward. You start letting off it a little bit, and then it just gives you the final like kick straight off of the wall. So, and ready and kick. Kind of like a New York Glock striker set on there. It's really interesting feeling while shooting. The reset's super nice. The trigger is super clean on the break. Really, it's a very, very nice gun. So, how did it shoot? I think that's one thing a lot of you might be wondering. If any of you are like me, you don't always have access to all the guns in the world, which makes these videos really cool, very important to you on should I buy this or should I not. I will tell you, every double action pull, I hit the target on this. Every single action pull, I was really only about 30% hit. I don't know why. I don't know why. Everything about this gun is really nice. I mean, double action and ping, no problem. And then I go single action and miss and miss and miss and ping and miss and miss and miss. I'm dumbfounded. I don't know what was wrong with me. However, I can tell you my other friend that was with me on this range day, who also, I got him into a CZ. You're welcome, Ethan. He was kind of the same thing. Double action. Excuse me, guys. Double action, ping every single time. Single action, miss, miss, ping, miss, miss, ping. I don't know. I really don't know what was wrong with us. I couldn't hit for crap on the single action pull, and this is a super nice single action trigger. I'm almost positive that if I had more time with this gun and I had way more ammo, only about 200 rounds with us that day. Sorry, I'm not made of money like some people apparently are. I couldn't hit with this thing. Also, I found the recoil impulse itself to be extremely flippy. So, you know, it would hit and I really felt the gun doing this every time, and then I watched a video of myself doing it. It really wasn't doing this very much. It was really minimal, but you could really feel how much higher up the slide sits and then how much more it moves. You know, you can't really defeat physics sometimes. The lower the bore axis, the lower the slide is in your hand, just the better the gun shoots, the flatter it shoots, the less flippy it feels. That's just the way it is. And like I said, I did a video and I watched it. I don't post shooting videos, you guys, because I think they're really boring sometimes. And it's really windy pretty much all the time over here where I live, especially out at the farm where we shoot. So wind kind of funnels between two plateaus and down into the valley. So But I felt this gun being so much flippier in hand. And then when we go back to shoot the CZ, it would honestly feel like a 22 because just the amount of muzzle rise you would get off this was so minimal. What I really think the biggest thing behind it is, and I said this in another video, is I think it is the reciprocating mass between this gun and this gun and this gun and my Springfield and this gun and a Glock. It's just the reciprocating mass is less because there's simply less slide, and that's why I feel that the recoil impulse felt less. All the same, this is a really, really cool gun. Would I buy this? Yeah, I think I'd like to, but should I? I probably should not. It's a really, really smooth gun. I would really have loved to have shot it with the original grips on there. I think that probably would have helped as well. I feel like I might have been pulling my shots a little one way or the other just because of how big this grip is in my personal, hands. It's a massive grip. So overall, you guys, this is a really, really fun gun to shoot. Again, thank you so much, Blue Line Guns, for letting me have this one on lease. If you're in the Boise area or if you live here, please go check them out at Blue Line Guns. The phone number is above. Really, really cool group of guys. Anyway, thanks for checking this out, guys. This is Agent Kyle signing out.